In the high-stakes world of global trade, wars are often fought with tariffs, not tanks. For years, the United States has been building a financial fortress designed to keep one major competitor out: China's booming electric vehicle industry. In 2024, that wall grew taller, with tariffs on Chinese EVs hitting a staggering 100%. The message from Washington was loud and clear: North America is closed for business. But while one door was being slammed shut, another was quietly creaking open. In a move that caught the global auto industry by surprise, America's closest ally, Canada, rolled out the red carpet. In early 2026, the Canadian government, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, executed a stunning policy pivot. As part of a new national auto strategy, it struck a deal that created a pathway for Chinese EVs. The 100% tariff Canada had mirrored from the US was suddenly gone, replaced by a 6.1% tariff for a set quota of cars. This wasn't just some minor policy tweak, it was a calculated geopolitical gambit. It was a story of how Canada, seeing an opportunity in America's protectionism, made a bid to attract the world's largest and most aggressive EV manufacturer, BYD. This is the story of a heist in progress. To get how gutsy Canada's move was, you have to understand the wall it sidestepped. The US-China trade war had been simmering for years, but it boiled over in the auto sector. Citing unfair trade practices and the need to protect American jobs, the US government effectively made Chinese EVs a no-go zone. That 100% tariff wasn't just a deterrent, it made the world's most lucrative auto market nearly impossible to enter. The logic seemed simple. If Chinese cars couldn't be sold, American automakers would have space to dominate their home turf. But this protectionist fortress had a price. Global supply chains were snarled, and the constant uncertainty and rising costs began to hit the bottom line for automakers in Detroit. This is the moment Canada chose to act. While the US was fortifying its walls, Ottawa saw a once-in-a-generation opportunity. In January 2026, the government announced what some called the EV for canola deal. On the surface, it was a straightforward trade-off. In exchange for China lowering its punishing tariffs on Canadian agricultural products, Canada would open a narrow window for Chinese EVs. But the devil was in the details. That window was a complete reversal of policy. The 100% tariff that Canada had put in place, following the US, was vaporized. In its place was a 6.1% tariff for a quota of 49,000 Chinese-built electric vehicles annually. That number is even set to grow to approximately 70,000 vehicles over the next 5 years. For one company, this was the news they had been waiting for. BYD, the Chinese juggernaut that had surpassed Tesla as the world's top EV maker, had shelved its Canadian plans in late 2024, blocked by the tariff wall. The January 2026 deal didn't just reopen the door, it completely changed the math for their entire North American strategy. The welcome mat was officially out, and America's fortress suddenly had a side door. So why would the biggest EV maker on the planet be so focused on a market the size of Canada? The answer is simple. For BYD, going global isn't a choice anymore, it's a necessity. Back home in China, the company is facing a strange new problem: a slowdown. After years of explosive growth, domestic sales have hit a wall. To keep growing, BYD has to look outward, and its ambition is stunning. For 2026, the company is aiming for 1.3 million vehicle sales outside of China, with overseas sales beginning to outpace domestic ones. The United States would be the obvious prize. But it's also a minefield. Beyond the tariffs, the US has put restrictions on connected vehicle technologies from China, which could block many modern cars from ever hitting American roads. When asked about the US market, BYD's Executive Vice President Stella Lee has called it a complicated environment, putting any plans on hold indefinitely. So, if you can't get in the front door, you find another way. BYD's global strategy is to build manufacturing hubs in friendly markets. They're already building their first European factory in Hungary, looking at a second in Turkey, and have methodically taken over Mexico's EV and plug-in hybrid market. From that perspective, Canada isn't just a small market, it's the final critical piece of the North American puzzle. It's a potential launchpad for the entire continent. But BYD isn't coming to Canada asking for a partnership. They're coming to set the terms. The Canadian government has been nudging foreign automakers to form joint ventures. BYD's response, from Stella Lee, was blunt. "I don't think a JV will work." This isn't just arrogance, it's how they operate. BYD's superpower is its extreme vertical integration. They don't just assemble cars, they make their own advanced blade batteries, their own electric motors, and even their own semiconductors. A joint venture would break that model. This demand for 100% ownership sends a clear signal. BYD is seriously studying the possibility of building its own state-of-the-art factory on North American soil. For anyone who's followed BYD's story in Canada, this might sound a little too familiar. The company has been here before, and it did not end well. In 2019, BYD opened an electric bus assembly plant in Newmarket, Ontario, hailed as a major win. But the reality was a mess. The plant was hit with production delays and quality control issues and got tangled in political tensions. In the end, the facility produced only a handful of buses before quietly shutting down, a ghost factory that serves as a cautionary tale. So, why would this time be any different? Because the BYD of 2026 is a different beast entirely. The company that stumbled with a small bus plant was still finding its way. Today's BYD is a global behemoth that has mastered mass-producing high-quality, affordable EVs. This is the company that developed the revolutionary blade battery and is rolling out ultra-fast charging technology. The conversation is no longer about a small bus assembly line. It's about a potential superfactory that could reshape Canada's industrial landscape. This is the real heist. Canada isn't trying to steal a factory that already exists. It's trying to steal the future factory that the U.S. assumed was either impossible or would have to be built on American terms. By creating a friendly tariff environment, Canada has made itself the most logical, maybe the only, place for BYD to build its North American empire. And BYD is keeping its options open. Stella Lee has publicly said that BYD is open to acquiring a legacy automaker to speed up its global expansion. As she noted, many rivals in the US, Europe, and Japan are struggling with the massive cost of developing EVs while keeping their gas-powered cars going. "We're open to every opportunity we have," Lee said, while clarifying no deals were in the works. Imagine BYD not just building a factory in North America, but buying one, complete with production lines and dealer networks. It's been done before. China's Geely did it when it acquired Volvo, turning the Swedish brand into a powerhouse. For a struggling automaker, a buyout from a tech-rich giant like BYD could be a lifeline. For BYD, it would be the ultimate shortcut. This chess move by Canada and BYD is already sending shockwaves across North America. For U.S. automakers in Detroit, it's a complicated new reality. The 100% tariff was their shield against Chinese imports. Now, they face a new threat from across the border. They could soon be competing with advanced, lower-cost Chinese EVs imported into, or eventually built in, Canada. This pressure might be the painful catalyst needed to force American automakers to get serious about building competitive and affordable EVs for everyone. For consumers, especially in Canada, the benefits could be huge. The lack of affordable EV options has been a major roadblock. The Canada-China deal is designed to change that. The regulations aim to increase the share of affordable EVs over time, with goals for a significant portion of the quota to be priced under $35,000 in the coming years. This could finally bring the EV revolution to thousands of families. And finally, there are the geopolitical ripples. With this deal, Canada is declaring a certain independence in its trade policy, diverging from the protectionist path of the United States. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. It has been met with concern by some, like Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who worries about the impact on local auto workers and the crucial relationship with the U.S. But for the federal government, it's a pragmatic bet on a world where diversifying trade is a matter of economic survival. The story of the global auto industry is being rewritten. While the United States focused on building a wall, Canada quietly built a bridge. It's a bridge that the world's largest electric vehicle company, BYD, is now preparing to cross. Driven by a slowdown at home and a burning ambition for global dominance, BYD sees Canada not just as a new market, but as a strategic beachhead for all of North America. This great automotive gambit is not a single event. It is the slow, strategic rerouting of an entire industry's future. The outcome is far from certain. BYD still has to make a final investment decision, and the political fallout between the US and Canada is just beginning to play out. But one thing is clear. The race for the future of the car is no longer confined to the old battlegrounds of Detroit, Wolfsburg, or Toyota City. The next chapter could be written in a factory that doesn't exist yet, in a country that decided to make a deal while its neighbor was busy building a wall. So what do you think? Is this a brilliant strategic move by Canada to secure its economic future, or a risky move that could backfire? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.